The homies were kind enough to ask me to help them by remixing / sort of flipping the songs into beats, into boom bap style beats. I'm just gonna play from the stems here. This is a song called An Angel Goes Down. We are gonna use Serato Sample. Nice. I'll go back and edit the timing for these. That's fire. Yeah, so I only have 3 samples left. This is the one like main drawback with Serato Sample. It's a feature and a bug, you know, is you have a pretty limited number of samples that you can use. That's kind of nice. All right, good enough. And I figure out the pattern by ear first. Adding a metronome now would be silly because I don't know how I'm gonna chop this. So it's gotta feel good without a metronome first. And then I can figure out, you know, I'll lay it down, figure out what tempo it is, and then we'll kind of adjust, make sure the timing feels right. See if this pattern works better. So once I lay down the pattern, what I like to do is just kind of like mess with little variations, right? Like everything that I do is honestly kind of formulaic. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's very loop based, it's very loop oriented, and there's usually like very straightforward patterns of tension and release. So I have these sections of like, you know, like this part is kind of the release. Tension builds, releases. So as long as like the overall pattern kind of like builds tension during the back half of each, you know, 2-bar phrase, then like I'm kind of good. The last 2 bars, I want to also build the tension, so maybe they'll just go into a different key or something like that, and then I'll bring it back home to 1. I just like very straightforward, you know, the way I think about this, but it kind of helps. Okay, cool. So this feels like a nice like 8-bar phrase to me. Okay, we'll call that a B. So I'm just gonna bounce back and forth between those 2 sections, I think. Next order of business is getting my drums sounding really nice. With these kinds of beats, the way that I've made them in the past, I wanna use a drum rack for all of them, and I wanna go like bit by bit and like really be intentional about the groove. I find that helps me when making these kinds of boom bap tracks quite a bit. I'm gonna do some like silly stuff, so. So this hat sample feels like the main one to me. This is gonna be on the downbeats. Feel me? And then I'm gonna shape. So I'm gonna keep that one as like my main sample. And then I'm gonna have one that's kind of like for the offbeats. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shave off the tail, fade it out. And kind of quick. Give it a little fade in too. Listen to what this does to the attack and how it makes it sound so much like softer. Just shaving off that transient with a fade in. And then usually I'll pull it down in volume a little bit too. And it makes it two completely unrelated hi-hat sounds. Now they sound very natural together. I'm gonna throw on some Saturn 2, and I'm gonna crunch up these drums a little bit. Just make it a little dirty. This knee mono kick, I wanna compress it. I'm gonna throw on Vulf Compressor, and this is gonna be another thing I like to do a lot. So I set my default to just be like super dry. But another thing I did in my default was I actually set the compressor to be 8x attack and pulled down the release just a little bit on Vulf Compressor. If you guys have this plugin or don't have this plugin, it's fucking awesome. And that makes it really snappy. When you have a longer attack, it kind of doesn't catch the initial transient, and so it gives you this really punchy sound, and I just think it sounds great. So that's often what I use Vulf Compressor for. Just gonna shape this kick a little bit more. I want it to be a little bit just like juicier. I'm gonna throw on some Decapitator here. Very lightly though. I don't wanna do too much, like 1 or 2. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play in a rough version of this, and I'm gonna see where I can edit it to get to sound-wise, okay? What do we have here? Again. Nice. That's sounding pretty nice. Let's do the B. Overall, it's still going to be a pretty dynamic beat, though. I mean, I want it to be.